showdown is a slow down. Unlocked starlet, a river full of green. All this coming up on Horses and Courses.
This is the OTB Television Network.
One back, boss.
The Off-Track Betting Television Network presents Horses and Courses, OTB Thoroughbred News with your host, Jack Wolfeseder. And now with a look at this week's news in the thoroughbred industry, here's Jack.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Horses and Courses. Right smack dab dead aiming on the holiday season coming up in just a very short week or so, and people busy running about getting those shopping lists filled. And boy, do we have a list full of terrific stake races coming up for you on the program this week. We're going to crown the nation's winningest horse for 1997. We've got some fantastic turf races that will run over the weekend, and a good assortment of sprints and two-year-olds in action as well. So let's get tacked up and loaded in the gate here and spring the latch and get them rolling. We'll start it off with a couple of those two-year-old races down in Calder, as the two-year-old fillies and the colts went postward on Saturday afternoon in these two races would be considered prep races for the upcoming Tropical Park Oaks and Tropical Park Derby, the 1st and 2nd of January, when, of course, the two-year-olds will be now 3. So good prep races. First up, the Boca Raton Stakes for the gals, mile and a 16th, $100,000. The guaranteed purse on the Boca Raton in Miami. Mr. Phil Saltzman describes the action.
They move to the 8th pole. It's still Argos Appeal leading by 2. Here comes Mudslinger on the outside quickly. They come to the 16th pole. Argos Appeal, but Mudslinger's the strong horse on the outside, and Mudslinger's going to get up to take the Boca Raton Stakes.
Mudslinger, Jose Santos in the irons, gets a length and a half score, winning the Boca Raton for trainer Randy Schulhofer. Congratulations, Randy. What an auspicious way to make his debut as a trainer. Of course, Randy, longtime assistant to his father, Scotty. Randy had been stabled up here at Saratoga during the spring and fall training sessions for many a year, and now ready to take up the duties as his father is nearing retirement in another year or so, perhaps. Mudslinger gets the job done for Randy, making his first start a stakes winning one. No better way to jump in the game than this, with Jose in the irons and a daughter of El Gran Senor to boot. Second win in a row for Mudslinger. Argos Appeal will be second. Angel of a Mom gets the show money. Mudslinger, probably see her in the Oaks for certain, goes the mile and a 16th in 1 minute 49 seconds flat. Randy, a very nice fellow. We congratulate him wholeheartedly. Have to put a call down there to Calder and convey our congrats to him. The What a Pleasure Stakes was the next race, actually the 10th race on the Calder card for our two-year-old colts. Again, mile 16th, $100,000, the guaranteed purse. And again, here's Phil describing the action.
Less than a quarter of a mile to go in the What a Pleasure Stakes. On the inside, Roguish Prince. On the outside, Brilliant Code. Length back, Sweet Southern Saint coming on down the middle of the track. They move to the 8th pole. Sweet Southern Saint comes marching home now. He's in front by 2.5. He's on his way to the Derby. It's Sweet Southern Saint drawing off, leading by 4. Roguish Prince is second. Reporter distant third.
Sweet Southern Saint, Al Toribio up for an easy 4.5 length score here in the What a Pleasure on Saturday down my sent off at 2 to 5. This 2-year-old son of Saint Bellotto makes short shrift of these 2-year-olds. Leo Azapura, the trainer of Sweet Southern Saint, and as you heard Phil say, it's off to the Derby indeed on the 2nd of January. Roguish Prince was second in the running, and Reporter finishes for the show position. Sweet Southern Saint goes the mile in a 16th in 1:47.1. All right, from Florida up to Maryland to take a look at our Laurel action over the weekend. Sprinters in the Bowie Stakes on Saturday, going the 3/4 distance for a $50,000 added purse. These are our older horses. Let's take a look. Here's Dave Rodman in Laurel with the call.
They're homeward bound. Any one of three can win it. Manager Buck on the outside. To the inside is Bristling and Purple Passion in between. Purple Passion with more response. Bristling down inside a little bit tight, dropping back. Manager Buck still going with Purple Passion. Purple Passion to the 16th pole, pulling away from Manager Buck. Purple Passion darting home in the Bowie Stakes. Purple Passion to win it by 2 lengths. Manager Buck in Bristling. Whoa, 108 and 2.
Purple Passion sent off 3 to 1. Cruises to a 2.25 length score. A 3-year-old son of Northern Roger. Hey, is this guy a runner? 7 wins out of 9 lifetime starts. His 3rd in a row, and it doesn't matter where this guy runs. He's raced at Rock, at Suffolk, down in Maryland, on the circuit here at Laurel, and at Pimlico, and there he is winning the Bowie Stakes. Purple Passion with Al Cortez in the irons for trainer Donnie Barr. Manager Buck was second. Bristling gets the show money. Purple Passion, very swift time here too, going the 3/4 in 1:08 and 2. Okay, Sunday afternoon at Laurel, we got the Filly and Mares turned to sprint for a $50,000 added purse in the Contrary Rose Stakes. Again, Dave Rodman will describe the race for us.
Weathervane heads for home. Now Palette Knife going to have her chance on the outside. Crabgrass is revving up with a big one on the outside today. Weathervane, Palette Knife, Crabgrass on the outside. Secret Prospect is 4th of the rail. Last furlong. Weathervane, Crabgrass, Palette Knife. 3-way thriller. Weathervane, Palette Knife, Crabgrass on the outside. Crabgrass, Weathervane, Palette Knife in between. It's going to be Crabgrass to win it.
Holy moly, what a finish here in the Contrary Rose. 4 of them crossed the wire. Crabgrass gets the nose victory with Steve Hamilton in the irons, beating Secret Prospect, Palette Knife, and Weathervane, all within noses of each other as they hit the wire in unison. Crabgrass, a 4-year-old daughter of Known Fact, trained by Barclay Tagg, gets her 2nd win in a row. This is her 1st stakes win, and a very nice mutual ticket too, $17.80, as she gets the luck of the 4-horse Bob there. 9 and 4. Give them all that 9 and 4. They all deserve it. They ran very, very nice race to those 4 fillies and mares in the Contrary Rose Sunday down in Maryland. All right, let's go up to Suffolk Downs for Sunday afternoon's showdown. The Suffolk Showdown, a match race to determine the winningest horse in 1997. The combatants here, Pro on Ice, a Finger Lakes shipper trained by Bobby Ferraro, has had 12 wins this year, and Maybe Jack, the local Suffolk horse trained by Al Borish, also has 12 wins on the 1997 slate. They're at a mile distance, $15,000 purse, $10,000 to the winner, $5,000 to the horse that comes up in the second best spot here. Over to Boston, Larry Colmus describes the showdown.
They're off in the Suffolk Showdown, and the race is on to determine America's winningest horse. And Baez is sending Maybe Jack. Pro on Ice is right on his outside. Rudy intent on the rail, though. Maybe Jack inside. Pro on Ice is right alongside. And they're hooked in battle since the beginning of the race as they move on to the backstretch. Let's check the opening quarter here. They ran it in 22 and 3, and that's really quick on this racetrack. It's Maybe Jack and Pro on Ice on the outside. The sprinter trying to get away. Bobby Messina starting to ride Pro on Ice. He wants to get in front of Maybe Jack, who's just quick enough to stay with him. He's a neck behind on the inside, and they're heading toward the half-mile pole that way. Pro on Ice will try to extend his speed. He's got a head in front. Maybe Jack keeps the rail, and now he draws even, and they've raced a very hard half mile in 46 3/5 seconds. And Maybe Jack has his neck out in front around the far turn, and the tough gray Pro on Ice clings right to him. They're head and head midway around the far turn. Maybe Jack on the inside. The Finger Lakes Flash, Pro on Ice. Boy, is he tough. He's right there on the outside at the quarter pole, and they're inseparable. They've been that way through 3 quarters in 1:14 and 4, and now it's a matter of stamina and will. It's Maybe Jack on the inside. Pro on Ice on the outside, doing his best to stay with him. They've been through grueling fractions, and Maybe Jack is getting the better of Pro on Ice in deep stretch, and it will be New England's own Maybe Jack to go on and win the crown as America's winningest horse for 1997. He beats a very game Pro on Ice by 6 lengths today.
Well, Maybe Jack had the big advantage going into the race for a couple of reasons. One, it was his home track. He'd been training and racing on that track right along. And the second, and probably the most important reason, is all of his last several races have all been around 2 turns, mile 16th, mile 70-yard races. Whereas Pro on Ice had been racing at Finger Lakes and had just been racing in the 3/4 sprint races there. Bobby Messina on the outside there tried to take advantage, but Rudy Baez knows that racetrack and probably outfoxed Messina a little bit by just going head-and-head with Pro on Ice, who is the speed horse in the race, Rudy knowing that he had more foundation perhaps than Pro on Ice did. And obviously in the stretch run, the showdown became a slowdown as Maybe Jack just ran away for about an 8-length score. Pro on Ice, I'll tell you, if this race was at 3/4 of a mile, Maybe Jack would have been life and death to beat him. But congrats to both parties and to Suffolk for putting this on short notice, too, to determine the horse with the most number of wins in 1997, and that is now Maybe Jack with 13 wins, and he only has 14 in his entire career. So he only won 1 race last year in 96 when he was a 3-year-old, and now he gets his 12th win of the year and 13th win. Check that, his 13th win of the year and 14th win overall. Pro on Ice, of course, he'll be back again next season at Finger Lakes, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'd love to get Maybe Jack up at Finger Lakes and try him in a sprint race up there. Maybe Jack winning the Suffolk Showdown in 1:45 and 1, and boy, that created an awful lot of excitement and interest as we just went along through a bleak December over there in East Boston, and Sunday was their final day of racing for the season. So big hats off to management and all the parties involved for putting that together. Very innovative and promotional conscious concept that they gave the racing fans, and it was very well received. All right, from Boston, let's go out to Kentucky, to Turfway Park, Florence, Kentucky, and guess what? The track isn't frozen. Hey, all right. The Turfway Preview Stakes at 6.5 furlongs was Saturday's featured race. $60,000, the guaranteed purse for our 2-year-olds. Let's take a look. Here's Mr. Mike Battaglia in Florence with the call.
Into the stretch, it's Flag on the play in front. On the outside, Troy's play takes second, then Anejo Gold, board member, and Tommaso. Down the stretch, Flag on the play, Troy's play and Tommaso are gaining ground. It's Troy's play who gets the lead. On the outside, Tommaso, Troy's play wins at a length over Tommaso.
Troy's play, Sebastian Madrid on board, gets the length score in the Turfway preview, sent off at 3-2 for Bobby Morse. This 2-year-old son of Farmer Way gets the victory. Tommaso finishing in the play spot. Flag on the play gets the show money. Oh, sure we didn't have a little football game going on there, folks, with these 2-year-olds. Troy's play goes the 6.5 furlongs in 1:19 flat. I wonder if that horse is named after Aikman. We'll have to check that out and see if that's true or not. Nonetheless, Troy's play wins the Turfway preview in 1:19 flat. All right, let's take our first break here. When we come out the break, we've got continuing action from the fairgrounds. It was Louisiana Champions Day this past Saturday. We've also got action from Hawthorne over in Chicago, and we'll take a look at a race at Golden Gate Fields for you, and a big weekend out at Hollywood Park with a premier grass event, and those 2-year-olds are at it out on the West Coast. Of course, we've got our aqueduct action as well. Much, much more to come. Go get yourself an eggnog. Be right back after this.
Now, there's more racing into the wee small hours of the morning at Capital Off-Track Betting. Every Friday and Saturday night, there's live racing from Los Alamitos with quarter horse racing and thoroughbred racing from Australia. Beginning at 12 midnight, you can watch the racing from these 2 tracks on the OTB television network. And there's more. You can wager in advance each day at your nearest OTB branch location, and day and night each day with the Fortinet operation. Don't miss the live racing from Los Alamitos and Australia every Friday and Saturday at midnight with Capital Off-Track Betting.
The New York Bred Incentive Program is making headlines in thoroughbred racing with purses and awards of more than $30 million up for grabs. New York Breds are in demand at the sales and on the track. Millionaires like Stroop Stakes winner Victory Speech, 2-time Saratoga Cup champ Le Carriere, as well as Breeders' Cup Excelsior winner Ormsby. All proof positive that New York breeds the best. Contact the New York Breeding and Development Fund for more information on how you can get your share of the $30 million New York Bred Incentive Program.
Okay, let's go to Hawthorne and check on their Saturday afternoon feature. State-bred 2-year-old fillies going in the Illinois Breeders' Debutante Stakes. It's a mile and a 16th. The purse on the debutante, good money here for these state-breds, $100,000 in estimated purses. Let's take a look. Here's Kevin Gomer in Chicago with the call of the debutante.
They're coming for the top of the home stretch, 6 furlongs, and a sparkling 1:11.3. And Zarina Kate has the lead. And now the question's been asked of Galaxy Girl. They're at the top of the home stretch. Galaxy Girl, Zarina Kate going at it stride for stride. Reggie Lane is working into it from 3rd. Queen of Wellington is 4th. Zarina Kate has the lead. Galaxy Girl on the outside is next. Reggie Lane is 3rd. It's Zarina Kate drawing away from Galaxy Girl in the closing stages of the debutante. And Zarina Kate is going to win. Reggie Lane comes on to grab the place money. It's going to be close for 3rd. Did Galaxy Girl save the show money, or did Queen of Wellington?
Zarina Kate sent off 7-2, cruises to a length and a quarter score in the debutante with Ray Seville at the controls. Reggie Lane finishing in the place position. Galaxy Girl will be the show filly. Zarina Kate getting the Illinois debutante in 1:45 and 4. All right, down at the fairgrounds, Saturday afternoon, it was Louisiana Champions Day, a whole bunch of races for our Louisiana breds. We picked out the 3 best for you. We'll start you off with the turf, the Louisiana Champions Day turf handicap. It's a mile and a 16th on a course listed as yielding. They had some rain down in the Bayou City, softened up that turf course. The purse is $100,000 in guaranteed money. Tony Bentley, our announcer at the fairgrounds, has the call for us.
And at the top of the straight, Carol's Royalty on the outside. On the inside, Marcy Gal, it's a gap of 3. Holly's Chief is next. And on the outside, Dickie Ricky. By the 8th pole now, Holly's Chief has the lead. Carol's Royalty is next. Super Firm quickly from last on the outside. Super Firm in time in the turf.
Super Firm, a length score here with Chris Gonzalez in the irons for Mario Convento and owner John Franks. And boy, cha-ching! Super Firm blows it up 39-1, $80.80 on Super Firm. This guy had won his last race in August at Louisiana Downs in just a non-winners of 3 allowance race. And here he comes relishing that yielding going and becomes a stakes winner, a state-bred stakes winner. Is Super Firm, a son of Affirmed, as you might imagine. Finishing behind him was Holly's Chief. Then Dickie Ricky gets the show spot. Super Firm, giving the punters down there something to think about. Goes the mile and a 16th on that yielding course in 1:46.4. The Louisiana Champions Day Ladies is the next race we'll bring you from Champions Day this past Saturday. It's the fillies and mares, of course, at a mile and a 16th, 125 thou, the guaranteed purse on the race. Again, Tony describes the action.
And at the top of the stretch now, Streak of Malagra has the lead. Winning Lady and Saintly Broad, they come on. Then comes Belika and a Night Woman on the outside by the 8th pole. Night Woman has the lead by some 3 lengths. Winning Lady is next, and then Streak of Malagra. Night Woman wins the ladies. And the time on the board, 1:45.1.
Night Woman by 5. Calvin Burrell on board for this easy score for trainer Kathy Bradley. And this mare is just as solid a state-bred as you're going to find. She has won 2 other stakes down there at Louisiana Downs. This is her 6th career win. She was sent off at even money. The folks down there know what kind of racehorse she is, and she gets the job done in style, winning the ladies' handicap. Winning Lady was second under the line. Streak of Malagra will get the show spot, but it's all Night Woman. Very nice state-bred, getting the ladies in 1:45.1. And of course, on every state-bred day at the different tracks, the big feature is always the Classic. And at Louisiana, at the fairgrounds, it's no exception. Louisiana Day Classic at a mile and a furlong, 125,000, the guaranteed purse on the race. The big favorite is Scott's Scoundrel. We've seen this guy so many times on the program. He's trying to become a millionaire, and he needs to either finish first or second in the race to do it. Let's see what happens. Here's Tony with the call.
Scott Scoundrel on the outside, One Mean Man Magnify on the inside is next. And as they head to the 8th pole, it's a tough Magnify on the inside. Scott Scoundrel is feeling the whip on the outside, but Magnify is in front by 2.5. Scott Scoundrel will have to settle for second. It's Magnify winning the Classic.
Magnify sent off the 9-5 second choice, gets a 2-length score in winning the Champions Day Classic. Calvin Burrell on board for another win down at the fairgrounds Saturday. Magnify gets his 3rd win in a row for trainer Tommy Amos, and in the process upsets the 4-5 favorite Scott's Scoundrel, who has to settle for second. But as we told you at the top, the 25,000 earnings that Scott Scoundrel gets for finishing second propels him over the $1 million mark, and thus he becomes the first Louisiana bred to become a millionaire. So he didn't win the race, but he certainly got the applause from all those in attendance at the fairgrounds Saturday for this lifetime accomplishment. One mean man finishing in the show position, but it's magnifies the day on Champions Day, getting the mile and a furlong in 1:51 seconds flat. Okay, from New Orleans, let's go out to Arizona, check on the race at Turf Paradise on Saturday. A good turf race, the Paradise Mile handicap, flat mile, obviously. $75,000 guaranteed race for our older horses. Gary Henson in Phoenix has the call.
Now, Via Lombardia in the green and yellow finds room and is on the move. Seahawk Gold in fourth, well bunched on the front end. Out of the turn, they're into the stretch. In mid-track, there goes Via Lombardia up along the rail, saving ground. Here's Flick, the two. They're stride for stride. Via Lombardia on the outside, Flick on the inside. They're neck and neck. Flick on the inside has the head in front, the strongest today.
Flick. Corey Black up at 3-to-1 price, gets the hard-fought head victory in the Paradise Mile handicap Saturday in Phoenix, holding off the favorite Via Lombardia for the win. Screaming Don gets the show spot here. Flick going the mile on the Phoenix course there and won 36-3. All right, 2-year-old fillies in Northern California at Golden Gate Fields is the highlighted feature from Saturday afternoon's card at the Albany Oval. It's called the Raise Your Skirts Stakes. These gals are going 1 mile and a 16th, $60,000, the guaranteed purse on the race. So out to Golden Gate Fields and Mr. Michael Rona with his call of the Raise Your Skirts.
As they turn the corner, Code Love still blocked on the inside. It's Squire out front coming to the 8th pole. One in front from to Little JD. Code Love is now switching through. One off the rail, still not getting a lot of room. Meantime, Lazy Sluzen and Pix Change are joining in. Lazy Sluzen, Pix Change down the outside, gobbling up Squire out front. Lazy Sluzen ahead in front of Pix Change. Lazy Sluzen takes the Raise Your Skirts from...
Hey, here's Lazy Sluzen getting a neck victory with Jake Barton in the irons for trainer Greg Gilchrist. Her 3rd win in a row, and she started off that win streak by winning for the mere $20,000 claiming price. And now a stakes winner and $25.60. Who knew Lazy Sluzen would get the job done in the Raise Your Skirts? Pix Change was the 2nd juvenile gal across the line. Then we had Squire out front finishing for the show, folks. Lazy Sluzen, a daughter of Sluicide, going the 1 mile and a 16th in 1:44 seconds flat. All right, let's take our second break here. When we come out of the break, going down to Southern California for a very big and important weekend of action at Hollywood Park, and then we'll come back to the Big A and check on their stakes as well. Much more to come. Finish up that eggnog. We'll be right back after these messages.
Here's what our OTB racing analysts have to say about Australian racing.
Excellent turf racing, and the full fields offer all sorts of value.
We get the best of both worlds. We get speed, we get dirt, we get top riders, we get value. We get some of the best racing in the world, and it's all here on Capital OTB, and I just love it.
What we're finding is that we're getting a lot of full fields. We're seeing a lot of great racing from Australia with these full fields. We're seeing horses that have odds that are winning, and we're cashing some nice tickets.
Because now I can key the favorite. I can either key the favorite with some long shots underneath and get some value, or I can key the favorite second because he's much more reliable and we get a good price horse on top. And then the big field from Australia, well, that's where it is, folks. 4-to-1 for life.
Catch the racing action from Australia on Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay, in reviewing the Hollywood action from this past weekend, let's start off with the 3rd race Saturday afternoon out at Hollywood Park, the Past Forgetting handicap. First running of this race. It's a 1 mile and a furlong grass race for 3-year-old state-bred fillies. Okay, let's take a look at them. Here's Luke Krybosch with the call.
Into the 5 turn, 6 furlongs in 1:13 and 3. Michigan Bluff gets the head in front. Good East Loose Shoes second. Let the Moon Dance Rap. Idealistic Cause. Beautiful Face with nowhere to go on the inside. Then La Femco at the top of the lane. Michigan Bluff set down for the drive now. Beautiful Face. Idealistic Cause swung wide and swung into action. Idealistic Cause taking off now and takes the lead. Idealistic Cause from a stubborn Michigan Bluff. Idealistic Cause is drawing away. Idealistic Cause in a landslide victory in the Pass Forgetting, wins by 3 to Michigan.
Idealistic Cause was sent off at 1-5. She scores by 3.5 lengths. She's easily the best here. This Daughter of Habitoni, this is her second in a row. Remember last time she was put up in the Flawlessly handicap, finishing second and was elevated to the win spot. Michigan Bluff finishing second behind Idealistic Cause. La Femme Company gets the show money out of this. They're not going to beat this state-bred Daughter of Habitoni. She's too good for them. She goes the mile and a furlong, 1:49 and 3. The main attraction on Saturday afternoon was the Hollywood Starlet for our 2-year-old fillies, going a mile and a 16th. $150,000 in added purse monies. Again, here's Luke describing the race for us.
Off and running in the Grade 1 Hollywood Starlet. Lovelock Career Collection broke on top. Snowberg now sprinting out to his short lead with Proper Code and Well Chosen on the inside, and Marie J drops out to trailer late. Into the turn, Lovelock takes over, goes clear by 1. Snowberg on the outside is second. Proper Code up the rail into third. Career Collection in a nice spot, 2.5 off the pace in fourth, and Well Chosen in 5 farther back to Marie J at the back. 23 and 1 for the quarter. Straightening away up the backstretch, it's Lovelock and Kent DeSormo 3 parts of a length in front. Snowberg flanking her from the outside in second, and Proper Code up the rail in third. Career Collection 2 lengths off the pace, moving smoothly in fourth. Well Chosen right in the leading group, racing 5th by 2, and Marie J starts to pick it up from the back of the pack through the half mile in 46 and 4. Heading for the far turn, Lovelock in front by a length and a half. Here comes the challenge from the favorite. Career Collection into second, Snowberg third. Proper Code is dropping out of it fourth to the inside, passed by Well Chosen, and Marie J starts to come on from the back of the pack. Around the far turn they go. Lovelock in front by 3 parts of a length. Career Collection now breathing down her neck from second place. Well Chosen third, Snowberg fourth by 5, and Proper Code to the top of the lane, and Lovelock is set down for the drive. Lovelock responding off the turn, opening up by 2.5. Career Collection not going with her at the moment. 3 back to Snowberg in third, and Well Chosen past the 8th pole, and Lovelock has put the field away. Lovelock drawing clear super powerfully to win the Hollywood Starlet. Lovelock wins it by 7 or 8 at the wire. Career Collection.
Well, she is on a roll now. Lovelock by 11 lengths. Is sent off at 7-2. She didn't get much respect. They made Career Collection the 2-5 overwhelming favorite, and she can't even get close to Lovelock. Of course, you remember, Lovelock is the only gal to defeat Countess Diana, who, of course, is going to be our 2-year-old filly champion. Lovelock has come on a little bit of hard times after beating the champ. And but boy, she's got herself straightened out now. This is her second win in a row. She won the Goldenrod at Churchill in her last start by 2 lengths, and now she comes on here and just destroys this field. Lucas trains her for Mike Tabor. She's a daughter of Silver Ghost, a Mr. Prospector stallion. So you can bet he'll be challenging Countess Diana next year as a 3-year-old. Lovelock unlocking a starlet on Saturday. Career Collection, I guess she ran a race, but boy, she was no match for the winner. Has to settle for second at 2-5. And then we had Snowberg finishing in the show spot. Lovelock, her mile and a 16th, cruising, and 1:42 on the button. All right, moving on to Sunday afternoon at the Inglewood Oval. First up, the Dahlia handicap for our fillies and mares. They're on the grass at a mile and a 16th, $100,000, beg your pardon, in guaranteed purse monies. Again, Luke Krybosh with the call.
Off and running in the Dahlia. Perfect start. Ekut to the outside and Plus breaking right on top. Traces of Gold is there and Sonia's Faith moving up at the rail. Golden Arch is just 2 off the pace early, followed by Wheatley Special, then Victorian Style and Passion Flower at the back of the pack early. Into the first turn, Traces of Gold goes clear by 1. Sonia's Faith cutting the corner, moving up the challenge second. Ekut right there tracking third. Plus is racing a clear cut fourth. Golden Arch is settling down in fifth. Wheatley Special races sixth, then Victorian Style at a gap of 3 back to the trailer, Passion Flower. Quarter 23 and 2, up the backstretch they go. Traces of Gold in front, a length and a half now. Sonia's Faith tracking from second. Ekut on the outside races third. Plus is 2.5 off the lead in fourth. Favorite Golden Arches in heavy traffic racing fifth, and Wheatley Special. Victorian Style with 6 to make up now, and Passion Flower inching up from the back of the pack. Half mile, 47 and 3/5 seconds. Traces of Gold out there now by 2. Sonia's Faith second. Ekut on the outside, now inching up from third. Plus at the rail is fourth. Golden Arches has 3.5 to make up now, then Wheatley Special. To farther back to Victorian Style and Passion Flower around the far turn. 6 furlongs in 1:11 and 1. Traces of Gold now bracing for the challenge from Sonia's Faith. Ekut on the far outside. Plus at the rail and Golden Arches in the stretch drive. It's Traces of Gold in front by a length. Sonia's Faith on the far outside. Here comes Golden Arches bulling her way through traffic. Deep stretch. Traces of Gold short lead from Sonia's Faith, and Golden Arches bearing down. Golden Arches coming fast on Sonia's Faith. Golden Arches hitting the front. Golden Arches winning the Dahlia.
Golden Arches half-length score here, the 4-5 favorite with McCarran in the irons for Ron McAnally and Sid and Jenny Craig, the Weight Watchers moguls. She gets a nice victory here. She was in the yellow ribbon in her last start where she finished up 6th. She's a French bred by the stallion Common Grounds, and now she scores here in the Dahlia. Sonia's Faith was second. Traces of Gold, who try to take them all away, hangs on stubbornly and does pick up a nice piece of it, finishing in the show position. But it is Golden Arches going the mile and a 16th on the lawn in 1 minute 41 seconds even. The 2-year-old colts up next in this year's running of the Hollywood Futurity, a race, of course, that has propelled many a youngster onto a very prominent 3-year-old campaign. At the mile and a 16th distance, we have a purse of $250,000 in guaranteed monies. And of course, the distance and the track the same as 4.5, 5 weeks earlier or so. They ran the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with Favorite Trick. Let's see if any of these 2-year-olds can emulate Favorite Trick. Let's take a look. Here's Luke again with the call.
Off and running in the Grade 1 Hollywood Futurity. And it's a good start, with Double Honor heading off to take the lead from the inside, joined by Arosa. Swiss Echo flashing speed 4 wide to the outside. Buttons and Moe's right in the firing line early. Real quiet along the inside rail. Art Tax is gaining some ground. 2 back to the Cynic, who's got 5 to make up. Can Me gaining 3 wide. Behind that, John Bill 7 lengths off the pace early. Gap of 3 back to Doc Martin and National Lore settling in at the back of the pack, 10 lengths off the lead. A quick quarter here, 22 and 3. Up the backstretch they go. Double Honor leads it ahead in front. Rosa pressing the pace in second. Swiss Echo right there a close third. Real quiet along the inside, racing in fourth. Art Tax is racing nicely in fifth. 3 lengths off the pace, then Can Me. John Bill starts his run on the extreme outside. Behind that comes Buttons and Moe's. Then it's the Cynic, a gap of 3 back to Doc Martin, and yet to do his best running National Lore with a dozen to make up. Half mile and 45 and 4. A quick tempo here into the far turn. Double Honor scoots clear by 2 now. Art Tax in hot pursuit second. Real quiet up the inside rail. Long shot Can Me. Arosa and Swiss Echo are backpedaling, passed by Buttons and Moe's. John Bill set down for the drive. Doc Martin coming out. Here comes National Lore revving up from the back of the pack. Top of the stretch now. Double Honors set down for the drive. Tackled by Real Quiet to the outside, and Artax gearing up down the center of the racetrack. Real Quiet, here comes Artax on the outside. Double Honor at the rail. Real Quiet has forged a short lead. Artax on the outside. Real Quiet in front. Artax not getting to him late. Real Quiet winning the Hollywood Futurity.
Real Quiet. Kent DeSormo in the irons gets that length score here in the Futurity, sent off at 3-2. A son of Quiet American was third in the Kentucky Derby Brown and Williamson Cup, the closing weekend at Churchill, and now comes out to back to California, where he broke his maiden before that trip to Churchill to win the Futurity, trained by Bob Baffert. Boy, what a season he has had. Of course, he's got Silver Charm just about ready to get back to action with the Malibu the day after Christmas, and then a run through the remainder of the Stroob series. Bob Baffert and Pat Byrne, they're going to be very hard to separate in the balloting for top trainer of 1997, both having fantastic seasons. And Baffert sends out Real Quiet here, this 2-year-old. He's going to make an assault on the 3-year-old season for sure, with Kent in the irons for the score. Artax was second. National Law, third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, third in the Hollywood Futurity, and still a maiden. How's that for picking up stakes purse money? But look, here's Real Quiet, 1.16 time in 1:41.1. Remember Favorite Tricks time, winning the Juvenile, completing his undefeated season, 1:41.2. Not that it makes any difference, but I just thought I'd remind you folks of that. We're going to have a very nice group of 3-year-olds in 1998. A lot of fun in store. If it can match what we had this past season with Silver Charm, Touch Gold, Free House, Barons, the Deputy Commander, Awesome Again, and on and on and on, it'll be a lot of fun and well worth the wait. So Real Quiet gets the win in the Futurity. All right, the pièce de résistance on Sunday afternoon, the $500,000 Hollywood Turf Cup handicap at 1.5 miles. 500,000, as we told you, $500,000 in purse monies here. Gate full of horses and some names we're so familiar with. Flag Down, Sandpit making his swan song. Awad is in the lineup. Percutant, on and on they go. Let's take a look. Here's Luke Krybosh with the call of Sunday's Hollywood Turf Cup.
Off and running in the Hollywood Turf Cup. Slow start for Flag Down. La Africaine Blue on the inside. Prize Giving, a Gypsio on the far outside. Prussian Blue is flashing speed 5 wide. And behind that comes Embraceable You. Big Sky Chester, Sandpit right in the firing line early. And behind those, Bonapartiste has 5 lengths to make up. Then it's Percutant. Gap of 3 back to Awad, followed by Flag Down, and River Bay lagging at the back of the pack early. Straightening away in the stretch for the first time. A Gypsio up to take the lead now. 3 parts of a length in front. Prussian Blue applies some pressure from second. Sandpit loping along a clear-cut third. Big Sky Chester racing in fourth. Prize Giving tucked in nicely in fifth. Embraceable You has 5 to make up. Percutant trying to get in there. Then La Africaine Blue at the rail. Bonapartiste has 7 to make up. 2 back to Awad, followed by Flag Down, and River Bay continues at the back of the pack. The half mile was a solid 48.3 for the distance. Heading around the clubhouse turn now. A Gypsio leads it just ahead in front. Prussian Blue forcing the pace in second now. Sandpit sweeping up 3 wide, a closer third. Prize Giving tucked in, saving all the ground in fourth. Big Sky Chester forwardly placed today, racing in fifth. Behind that on the outside comes Percutant, La Africaine Blue, Embraceable You in heavy traffic. Bonapartiste 2 back to Awad, then Flag Down, and River Bay at the back of the pack. 6 furlongs in 1:13.1. Up the backstretch they go. A Gypsio, Prussian Blue now with the head in front, and the old veteran Sandpit right there, 3 deep in third. Percutant, Prize Giving. Big Sky Chester's in between rivals. Bonapartiste now goes for an early charge on the inside, going by La Africaine Blue. Awad starts to stoke it up, then Embraceable You, Flag Down, and River Bay really bunching up into the far turn, and Sandpit is up to to grab a short lead from Prussian Blue. Backpedaling third goes a Gypsio. To the outside, it's Percutot revving up. Big Sky Jester Awad puts in a strong charge from the back of the pack now, coming on with River Bay and Flag down at the top of the lane. Sandpit has the head in front. Prussian Blue kicking back gamely on the inside. They head for home. Sandpit a short lead. Here comes River Bay on the far outside, storming to the front. River Bay up to grab the lead with a furlong to go. Awad going gamely with him and Flag down the center of the racetrack. River Bay is drawing clear, and River Bay will post a nice win in the Hollywood Turf Cup. River Bay goes on to win by a length and a half to Awad.
River Bay, a length and a half victor in the Hollywood Turf Cup. Alex Solis doing the race riding for trainer Bobby Frankel. Hey, this guy last raced at Belmont in the Man of War and was a well-beaten 7th, making his first start in this country since coming over from Longchamps. The son of Irish River was immediately flown back to California to join Frankel's barn and trained brilliantly for this race, throwing up several black-type works in his preparation for the Turf Cup, and runs to those works, getting the victory. Set off at 9-2, $11.20, so not a bad ticket on River Bay. Now, look who's second and third, folks. These guys are just iron-legged horses. Awad and Flag down, they're always taking turns beating each other. This time, Awad gets the better of Flag down for the place and show. Flag down, of course, third out there in the Breeders' Cup Turf, and now comes back and is third in the Hollywood Turf. But it's River Bay, a river full of green on the lawn at Hollywood, getting the 1.5 miles in 2:26 and 2. Bobby Frankel does it again. All right, from Hollywood, excellent weekend of racing out there. That's the place to be this time of year. Back to the Big A. On Saturday, our older horses went post within the Queens County handicap, 1 3/16, $75,000 in added purse monies. I bet you Gaspar Moschera wins this race. Let's take a look. Here's Tom Durkin with the call.
And they're off. Delay of Game comes out on the lead. And Mr. Sinatra comes away running second, followed by Draw. And then more to tell toward the outside, Buck Strider, as they move by us for the first time. Mr. Sinatra head-to-head early with Delay of Game. Here's Dustin's Dream to join them third. Buck Strider on the outside fourth, and Draw tucks away neatly in behind them. Now running in fifth, victoriously sixth on the outside. More to tell is seventh, and Gator Dancer as the field races around the first turn. And it's Delay of Game in front. Buck Strider making him work to hold the lead. He ran the opening quarter in 23 3. As they make the bend into the backstretch, Delay of Game hounded by Buck Strider. 2 lengths back, Mr. Sinatra kept close to them running in third. Dustin's Dream in the clear on the outside fourth. Victoriously is fifth. Draw well in hand. Reserved 6 lengths from the lead with 5 furlongs to go. A break of another 4 back to Gator Dancer, and more to tell. The opening half mile, 48 seconds flat. It's still Delay of Game, the controlling speed here at the half-mile pole. He leads by a length and a half from Buck Strider. Mr. Sinatra running in third, and now Migliori says go with Mr. Sinatra, and now he's running in second. Dustin's Dream on the outside advances to third. Buck Strider giving it up, and Draw comes on through. On the outside, victoriously kicking in. They're coming to the top of the stretch. It is Delay of Game, and he's still running on well. Mr. Sinatra moves to him as they head for home. Draws now third, victoriously in Dustin's Dream. Off the turn and into the stretch. Delay of Game. Delay of Game in front. Sameen shakes him up, and he's responding. Delay of Game holding on to the lead, 3/4 of a length. Mr. Sinatra is giving his all. Delay of Game and Mr. Sinatra coming to the line together. Draws third. Mr. Sinatra. Delay of Game, and Mr. Sinatra. Oh, too close to call.
Well, I don't know how many years Moschera has won this race, but it seems like every year he has at least 1, if not 2, and sometimes even 3 horses in the Queens County. This year is no exception, and here comes Mr. Sinatra doing it his way, getting the victory. Mr. Sinatra had been second and third in his last couple of stake starts down in New York. but gets the victory here by a nose in a hard-fought stretch battle with Delay of Game, who just loses the bob there. They have to will it to Mashira, I guess. Mig in the irons for Gasper with Mr. Sinatra, a 3-year-old son of mining. Let's not forget that here, winning this handicap. Delay of Game, tough beat here, has to settle for the place spot. Then we had Draw finishing in the 3rd position. The 3 favorites finishing up 1, 2, 3. Mr. Sinatra going the mile and a 3/16 in 1:55 and 3. All right, the Eastview Stakes was Sunday's feature down at the Big A. These are our state-bred 2-year-old fillies. They're going a mile and a 16th, $50,000 in added purse monies. Again, here's Tom with the call.
And they're off. Dance with the Bride gets out first. Pink Ibis coming up quickly. Toward the outside, Best Friend Stroh is there. Into the clubhouse turn, it's Dance with the Bride with the lead. Pink Ibis comes on through between horses. Toward the inside, Speedy Special saves ground in 3rd. Best Friend Stroh 3 wide in the early going 4th. Followed by Bye-Bye Danzig in hand running 5th by 3. Soft Senorita running in 6th. Biagio's Baby is now 7th. Then it's Speedy Special 8th on the outside. Rather, make that Speedy Senorita 8th on the outside, followed by Eastern Dancer and 5 lengths back to Senorita Empire, the trailer. 24 and 1 for the opening quarter, moving down the backstretch. Dance with the Bride on the clear lead by a length and a half. Then Pink Ibis running in 2nd. On the outside, Best Friend Stroh rating comfortably in 3rd. Just in behind Bye-Bye Danzig, 4th by 3. Soft Senorita running in 5th. Speedy Special now back racing in 6th. Biagio's Baby now beginning to move past her. Then a break of 5 lengths back to Eastern Dancer. It's another 4 or 5 to Senorita Empire and Speedy Senorita the trailer. Into the far turn now. Dance with the Bride, 2-prong challenge here. Pink Ibis to her inside, just to her outside, Best Friend Stroh, a strong 3rd. There goes Soft Senorita rallying on the outside to join the leaders now in 4th. Bye-Bye Danzig is 5th, and Biagio's Baby, and the field turns for home. Dance with the Bride, Best Friend Stroh, Soft Senorita, those 3 coming to mid-stretch together, and Dance with the Bride hanging in there, clinging to a short lead. Best Friend Stroh is full out now, and those 2 nip and tuck past the 8th pole. Soft Senorita running in 3rd. Biagio's Baby is 4th. Down to the final 16th. And it is Best Friend Stroh. Best Friend Stroh pulling away. Big day for Aaron Grider here. And he wins going away with Best Friend Stroh by 4 on the wire.
Hey, a state-bred daughter of Jade Hunter, the nice Mr. Prospector stallion. Best Friend Stroh with Aaron Grider in the irons. Runs off to a 4-length score in the Eastview at a 2-to-1 price. Hey, this gal was 2nd in the Maid of the Mist on Showcase Day as a maiden. Then she broke her maiden in her next start. Then they ran her an open company in the Demoiselle. She finished 4th in that event. Mike Hushin brings her back here in the Eastview, and she's a very punctual winner. Dance with the Bride tried to take them all the way around, and if not had a little more tightness to her, she perhaps could have done it. She'd just been sprinting, and she was in the Stallion Stakes, so she wasn't quite tight enough to get the 8.5 furlongs here, but she's going to be okay in state-bred company next year. And then we have Soft Senorita, a part of a 4-horse Callejas Perez entry, so they threw them all in there, and they did come away with a good piece of it, finishing up in the show spot. But Best Friend Stroh gets the win in the time of 1:47 and 3. All right, that takes care of all of our replay action for the show this week. Now let's get into our notes department. And if you were wondering what happened to our Meadowlands replays on this week's show, well, it seems that they had big problems the final 3 days of their meet last week. They canceled Thursday afternoon, Friday night, and Saturday night as well. Remember, they do not have an all-purpose track. They just have the regular normal dirt track, and they just lost it. It got froze and thaw cycle that we had a little bit last week, played havoc, and it became unsafe for them to use. So unfortunately, the Meadowlands had to cancel the final 3 programs of their 97 meeting. Thus, we have nothing for you from the East Rutherford Oval on the show this week. Taking a look ahead to our program next week, Christmas week, a little program reminder, of course, Christmas Eve and Christmas falling on Wednesday and Thursday. That moves us around a little bit, so look for us Tuesday evening following the harness activity, and then Saturday morning for our Christmas week programming. And you're going to like it because it's our annual Christmas gift to you folks, in addition to the few stakes races that will be run around the country over the holiday period, predominantly California, Florida, Maryland, and New York. We're going to give you our 10 best races of 1997, the best, which we think were the best stake races run this past season. And I'll tip my hand a little bit. You can best believe the Triple Crown races are in that group. So you'll want to make it a point to tune us in and see those 7 other races which we think were the best, and take a trip down memory lane. It just seems like it has flown by the year with the exploits of Silver Charm and Free House and Touch Gold and the Triple Crown races and Captain and Bodget and all the hullabaloo that we had earlier about Skip Away and Gentleman and Siphon, and remember Blushing KD, our 3-year-old filly that went wrong, and the Good Sprint. So I think you're going to enjoy it. Tune us in next week for our Christmas gift, the 10 best of 1997. Some of the other races that will be run that we'll briefly feature on the show: the McKnight down at Calder, the Christmas Futurity out at Turf Paradise. At Hollywood Park, we've got the Native Diver and the De Jour. Down at Aqueduct, we'll take a look at the Ladies Handicap and the Damon Runyon for our state breds. So there you have a brief look at what's coming up on our program. And next week, I hope you're enjoying this very nice time of year, not doing too much running around. You have everything organized so you know exactly who you're buying for and where to go to get these things, and don't get so discombobulated that you take the fun away from it all. And of course, stick by us for all the great thoroughbred racing action. That puts a cap on things for this week. So, as always, stay tuned right here to your OTB TV radio network station, where you get the most complete coverage in thoroughbred racing. Till next week, Jack Wolfeseder here. So long, everybody. Enjoy the holiday season. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.